Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Chill. What up, everybody? It is your man, Jelani JB Bodie, back again here for the Wait a Minute show. Hope you are ready to go. We got a lot of stuff that I want to talk about, a lot of stuff we want to get through today's show. And speaking of today's show, yes, last week's show, the week before, the week in the future, whatever. But make sure that you're always subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're liking anything that we're putting out there. And also turn on those notifications and share the show with anyone on all your social media platforms. But having said all that, we got NBA playoffs that we're going to talk about. Got some questions about the Pacers. You know, we talked about NBA to NFL. Well, going to touch a little bit on that. You'll see what I'm talking about. NCAA looks like they're going to be paying some folks. I'll explain that a little bit later as well. And we got some other stuff that we'll talk about and we'll get to in just a moment. But before we do anything, I got to always pay respect to my man running the show in the background, Mr. Big Mo. What up, Mo? How are you?
What's going on? What's going on? Look, my dreams came true. My dreams look
What?
like they're coming true. We
What
might get a
dream?
better NBA halftime show.
See, now why you got to start this thing off real disrespectful,
Hey,
man?
listen, man. Sometimes you
Why you
gotta pray
guys?
for what you want, man. You have
Hey,
not because you ask not.
let me
I
tell you
petition
something.
for it.
You were last time, and check out the last episode. Make sure you're checking out the last episode where we talked about inside the NBA possibly going away. So it looked like it is going to be going away. But you start telling me a few things, and I'm like, okay. I started listening, but after I said, nah, ain't no
Oh,
way.
come
But
on.
just hey, everybody, just check out the previous episode where we talk about that. See if you agree with me or if you agree with Mo, on it, because obviously he's happy. I'm not. All right, I'm not.
Well,
Just
listen. It had to play out the way it played out. I'm sorry.
nah,
It was
son.
time. It was time. Come on. It was
Nah,
time.
it ain't time.
It
But
was time.
also
Let
was
the young
time.
people enjoy themselves.
It's Memorial Day weekend, so salute to all the people out there. We know why, we're celebrating Memorial. It's not just to have an extra day off or anything like that. We want to make sure that we highlight, those people that sacrifice for us, so we can do the things that we're doing. So salute to all the people that make the sacrifices out there, so we can enjoy a day like this with family and friends. So but I'm gonna get Mo up out of here because he's being real disrespectful. So let's get into it, right? We already know it. Hey, the Western Conference Finals just went down. Actually, Game 3 just went down. Where who won? Who won? That's right. The Mavs. So the Dallas Mavs win 116 to 107 to take a 3-0 lead, right? Timberwolves are in trouble. I mean, they've been in trouble, but they're in some deep poo emoji right now. And I'm gonna end up having to bring Mo back because I know he's gonna have an opinion on this. But the Timberwolves are at a situation where it is whatever needs to be done has to be done in Game 4. Whatever needs to be done has to be done. It should have been done, and I'm going to explain why. Mo, you tell me, your thoughts, on this. Is that now? Look, here's this is the game we play. We already know. After everything is said, people like to point the blame, right? Who to blame? Who to blame, and all this stuff. I don't like placing blame per se, but there are some responsibilities, and it's going to lead to Cat. They've already been talking about Karl Anthony Towns and his performance in this Western Conference Finals, and it hasn't been stellar. He knows that, but I think more than anything, at the end of the day, looking at it is that it's going to be looked at as, what could I have done different? Is there anything that I could have done different? And I do believe that there are some things that Cat, could do, because we're talking about that's their 1-2 punch, him and Ant, right? Going up against Kyrie and Luka. So you got that matchup. You were going to have, everybody knows that they were going to have a really great series, for them to win and go to the finals and everything. And it's not working out. If you look at the comparison, 63 to 30, these are points. These are points. Game one, 63 to 35 points. This is the dynamic duo of the Mavs versus the Timberwolves. 52 to 36, and then this last game, 66 to 40 points. Now, it's not all just, about points and everything. It's more other things. But what I just really didn't like, and Mo, tell me if I'm tripping, on this. Karl Anthony Towns in this series, in the Western Conference, he's 3 for 22 from behind the 3-point line. And when you're cold, when you're shooting threes, I don't think that's something that you can just shoot your way out of. I think getting buckets helps you get back and get into a rhythm and that confidence of making those threes. So I'm watching Karl Anthony Towns and I'm just like, bro, utilize the paint for a couple of those buckets. Just make up your mind. This is what I'm going to do to help my team out. I don't have to have a 3 here. Yeah, I'm open, but I haven't been hitting the shots lately. So I need to make sure that I get a high percentage shot at this point because what I'm doing now is not working. You get those, maybe the ball gets rolling. And look, other than this game that they just played, game 3, game 2, game 1, they lost by 3 and 1 point, right? That could have been a difference maker. Now you really do going into game 4 have to say, you know what? What am I willing to do? Am I willing to do what it takes to get this win? And that may be just doing something I'm uncomfortable doing. And I think that should have been happening before. But it's not just Karl Anthony Towns, but because he is the 1-2 firepower in that group. That's where people are going to look. You could put some, on coaching. I think in some places, Nas should have been playing instead of Rudy Gobert, or Cat should have been playing instead of Rudy Gobert in certain situations. So it's always, it's always something to analyze. But I think the biggest thing is that, Cat, man, get in that paint a little bit more. I'm not saying that you got to completely come from the 3, but you got to get in that paint a little bit more to help your team out.
You got to be more aggressive. You got to attack the basket. And like you said, get in the paint and get to the free throw line. I mean, that's going to give you more opportunities to do that to help you get in your rhythm. Take Anthony Edwards. Don't have him defending Kyrie all night because he can't do that. And, I mean, it's as simple as that. And get a rebound. I mean, they're killing you on the offensive rebounds. Get some boards and attack the basket and give yourself a better chance to win the game. But I agree with you. You can't just shoot your way out of it from behind the arc. That's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. That's going to have you in a situation you found yourself in a few times where you late in fourth quarter, 3-point deficit, and all of a sudden, 15 seconds later, you're down by 9. But it's over. I mean, you can't 3-0. I mean, 0-3 is, come on, man.
Yeah, it's pretty bleak. And that and to me, there's moments also that it's just like you can't miss out on certain moments. And it's just like in this particular, and this is what I'm talking about, and I'm not saying like Karl Anthony Towns don't take any threes or anything like that, but there are moments. And when Ant came down the pipe and yammed it on Gafford, that was a momentum shifter. Yeah. And that started shifting that game. And it was, I just believe, if they could have got, if Karl Anthony Towns and some of the rest of them, just kind of got in there, changed it up a little bit. And I don't like to beat up on, one person, but I just think that was a moment that they missed because they kind of put, Dallas on their heels. But I mean, you got 2 of the best closers, on the other side. So with Kyrie and Luka, so they're coming. They're going to make a run. And if you're shooting up threes and all this stuff, I know that's the game this in 2024. I know that's the game, but the game within inside the game is to analyze. You know what can I do right now in this moment? Because this really could have been a 2-1 series, at the point, maybe their way 2-1.
Should have been.
But it's not. And in those moments, I think, they may look back on it and say, man, we really, we should have changed this up, or we should have did, something different.
You think it's just a bad matchup? I don't, because I'm looking at the scores over the past 3 games. And I think if it is a bad matchup, it's probably right there with Anthony Edwards and Kyrie. Believe it or not, but
I don't think it's a bad matchup. I just think you got two really good teams, and like I said, Kyrie and Luka, they're closers.
Hmm.
They're not supposed to be on the same team. You
No,
know,
they
it's just
not.
it's just the way that it worked out. Once again, credit to the Dallas Mavericks, credit to Mark Cuban and how they finessed, people. We're not gonna get into
Hmm.
that, but they did what they were supposed to do. I'm giving them credit. I'm
They
not
trying to
criticizing
call
them, but
them. They trying to call them the best backcourt in NBA history.
right. And it's like you got two nasty closers, and then and I really think it's just that Minnesota hasn't been able to keep Gafford and Lively off of these oops. To me, I thought
Keep
maybe
the
that's
hoopers
what
okay.
Rudy and them should have been doing, or
Hmm.
doing more of Rudy and Cat being able to kind of match that, as well. But a different game style. But I think just again some things here and there it could have changed this thing, and we would have been talking about a closer series. So I do believe this is a close matchup. It's not an even or of a supreme disadvantage or whatever to the
Yeah.
Timberwolves.
The upside to it is they got an opportunity to make history.
Yeah, yeah.
If that means something to them.
That is glass half full. I like that, sir. I like that. What may not be half full and should be fully full is the NCAA and it's money, right? Money to possibly be paid. So there has been an agreement put in place right now. It still has to be approved, but it looks like it's going to be approved. That there was this big antitrust claims that was put on the NCAA that they have settled with players or with former college athletes. So the reason that is important is because now that opens up the bucket, that opens up the lane, that opens up the bank for colleges to start paying athletes directly, right? And that looks like where we're going to be going. So I won't bore you with all the details and everything, but basically the Power Five, conferences that they came to a decision of figuring out this thing and said, look, we gotta play ball now. We have no choice, so we're gonna implement being able to pay them directly. This is going to help us out. This is going to put them in the competition as far as like getting the top athletes and everything. So what it's supposed to look like is up to $21 million. So basically, there's going to be a cap of up to $21 million. The colleges have their option. They don't have to use all of it. It's not like a regular cap. They can use 10 or 5 or whatever they deem necessary. But right now it's 21 million is up to it, and this goes for all the sports at that school. So it's not just the football team, not just the basketball team or anything like that. So they get a choice. Hey, you know what? And I'm just using that example. If maybe they said, you know what, Caitlin Clark, she deserves a big pot, of what's going on because Iowa's on the map right now, because they could decide to do that from what I'm understanding. So here's what I'm going to say. It's about what time, right? Late to the party as usual. There's still going to be issues. Now, I know people are going to say, well, now they can pay them, and this is great. It is, but you're still going to have issues. And Mo has heard me preach this time and time again of where I said the NCAA should have got ahead of this, and now they're just catching up. But look, they made the move kind of they were forced to make the move, but they made the move, did what they were supposed to do. This is going to, add to the kids, right? This is going to now what the challenge is and it's always been is that you don't want to get no kid or their parent or anything like that thinking crazy and saying, you know what, my kid needs to get half the pot or something like that, because that's going to happen. It's going to happen. But this is going to just go into, the playoffs that we're seeing in college football. Is going to continue with March Madness. It's going to continue with the recruiting process. This will give the schools a little bit more foot or salt in the game that they can, give that money directly to the athlete versus, maybe depending on someone else being able to provide that money for that athlete. So I like it. There's going to be some challenges to it. I'm not going to say that this is just the greatest thing since sliced bread or anything like that. You're going to have your troubles with it, but it's about time. should have happened decades ago. And I just believe, this is just my personal belief, I just believe if this had happened decades ago, you wouldn't even have this. The cap probably wouldn't even be 21 million. The cap at this point probably would be 5, because kids would be glad just to not have to go and sneak around taking money or whatever. But they waited, and we're here where we at. But it looks like it's gonna happen. So props to the NCAA for coming to 2024 and beyond, to play this game. So, and we'll be talking about the next challenges, after that. What else we got? Let me check my let's move on. I want to get back to the playoffs, and talk about the Pacers, right? Talk about the Pacers. They're in a little bit of trouble as well, in their Eastern Conference finals. But what I really wanted to touch base on is the last play for Game 3, where Indiana lined up like they were the Colts, and ran a football play. Ran a football play. I thought, had somebody dragging, running underneath, crossing route, all that good stuff that you would see in the NFL, right? And it almost worked. It almost worked. And to me, it did work. It did work. And I've been asking this, and Mo, jump back in here for me real quick. But I've been asking this, and I don't know if you remember me saying this, Mo, but I've been asking, why don't they run plays like that at the end of a half or at the end of a game more often? Because the great part about it is that the one thing you can't do when it comes to running that play versus like football, you can't put your hands on anybody. So you can run anything you want. And as we saw, they got a wide open shot. It worked. Just didn't hit the shot, right? Boston looked a little confused. They didn't know what to do because they didn't have anything, necessarily just planned, for it. So why not? I love the idea. I've been trying to preach this idea, but ain't nobody gonna listen to me. But I've been trying to preach this idea. Run those plays more often. When you have those we got 1 second left and you're trying to heave it down the entire length of the court, run a crossing pattern, run something, because the one thing about basketball that's not football, you can throw it ahead and the ball dribble and the clock hadn't started. It don't start until someone touches the ball. So you can create yourself, even maybe an additional half second. Mo, I thought it was great. I loved it. I hope to see more of it.
I agree. My only problem is once you see it, I mean, how often can you actually do it? I mean, how many times is it really going to work? I mean, because now, okay, teams going to start expecting it, but I don't know. I mean, it's you won't know until you try to implement it into your playbook.
I think this is, and the way it can work as many times as you want. And here's what I'm gonna say on it.
Okay.
If you get in the mindset of an actual NFL team, you got one there. You got to,
Right.
you go there, you get with they offensive coordinator or their quarterback's coach or their head coach, whoever, and you pick their brain and you say, look, what can I run? Because I'm going to use your team as an example, Mo. Christian McCaffrey, we know he's getting the ball. We know he's getting the ball. But Kyle Shanahan has devised multiple plays to get him either open or get him, in space or get him something. Brandon Ayuk,
Right.
Debo. So I'm just saying to me, the options are limitless at this point. And let's just be honest, is that to me, the defense is at a disadvantage. One, because you don't know where they're going, but also none of those guys is playing defense. They're not about turning their hips or being able to be as they say being able to bend or all that stuff.
Right.
They're not going to be as agile on that if you're running the play. Most basketball plays, you got them running a pattern. And someone may be trailing, or if it's a stutter step, then you're just trying to stand in front of somebody. But if you got to navigate through somebody, and we just saw a prime example in Game 2 of the Western Conference Final, where they switched off and Luka ended up getting Rudy Gobert, and he put him in the mix. You can highlight, okay, who's the person with the least amount of foot agility? We're going to run a play that put our best guy on that person and put him at a disadvantage. So I love it. I love it. I want to see
I
more
love
of
the
it.
question. I love the question. I love the play. It was funny, but I loved
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
I don't
So
know.
prop.
I got to see, and I think you will see it. I think you'll see it. I mean, you may see it again before the playoffs over with, but keep yourself out of that situation. The way you have
Right.
to do it. Because I mean, again, we talking about another series that's pretty much over,
Yeah.
and I had it going the other way, but yeah, I think I think it's something that you will see again soon.
Yeah. Copycat.
Everybody can't do it though.
No, no.
Everybody can't
Somebody
do it.
somebody will mess it up, but if they practice it enough, I think you can, kind of put this in at the right time. At the
It
right
was
time. I'm not
genius.
saying, just be like, hey, when we come out of a timeout, we running this or something like that, but
Hmm.
it can help out.
Yep.
Props to Rick Carlisle. Used to be Detroit Piston head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that he coaching for that team. That's a
Yeah.
whole nother conversation.
Yeah. 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 We'll discuss that later. Um, Still don't like Mo for his inside the NBA comment, but that's for another day. Yeah. All right. Let's move on from that. And we're gonna touch a little bit on football as well before we get up out of here. And we're getting close. Before you know it, the NBA finals will be over and everybody will be directing their attention to NFL training camp. Actually, we'll have that little thing, in the middle called the Olympics that some people might watch. They might. I mean, it's only a world event. But training camp will be starting and then we'll start hyping up all the trains for the NFL, asking the questions. But we're going to start a little bit early with the NFL. And there are teams coming into the season that you're going to say, hey, you know what? This is a Super Bowl contending team. This is a team that could reach the Super Bowl. This is a team I expect to, get to the Super Bowl or has a really good chance of getting to the Super Bowl. But who has the most pressure on not just getting to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl? I don't want to hear about who can get there because as you saw, anybody got, plenty of people have chances, teams go on runs and all that stuff. But going into the season, Super Bowl win or bust, not Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl win. Who has the most pressure? And here's my list. And I know Mo is going to have something to say about this, but I got Cincinnati. You got Joe Burrow, right? And they had the previous success and he got injured. So it's always that what if on it because they're looking at winning a Super Bowl. You got the Jets, obviously, all in on Aaron Rodgers. Even the NFL is saying you owe us. That's why they got all these primetime games. Buffalo with Josh Allen, it's more about that window. How close will that window be closed? I got Baltimore in there as well. Look, Lamar, 2 MVPs. They went 14 and 3 or something like that for the season. So coming off that, you had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, didn't work out. Definitely going to be looked at. And then my Detroit Lions. My Detroit Lions is they were one game away from the Super Bowl. This is that process that I was talking about before. Before it was learning to win, then it was actually living up to winning. Now it's, hey, you're the hunted. You're not no longer a hunter. Everybody's going to be coming after you. So you got that pressure. But the team that has the most pressure out of all the teams that I just listed is the San Francisco 49ers. They're way beyond of that. They have to, they had to win last year. Actually, they had to win 3 years ago when Jimmy Garoppolo was there. And for them to be able to still get back to the Super Bowl, and these are games, it's not, they didn't go to the Super Bowl and get blown out or anything like that. They played very well. And I know people gonna say, oh, you left off the Eagles and all that stuff. You left off the Cowboys. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So, and but we're talking about the 49ers. This is the team I believe has the most pressure. Some of it is because is this Ayuk deal is going to get done? I know Mo believes it's going to get done. I do think it's going to get done, but it's like Debo, Kittles. How much longer can you keep those guys, guys there? Because I truly do believe they're trying to win this thing before it's time to pay Brock, which is coming up soon. And it's going to be even harder to try and repeat this business. So last year was the year, but the team with the most pressure to win the Super Bowl by far, more than anybody in the world, is the San Francisco 49ers.
It has to be the 49ers. I mean, you go to the Super Bowl in recent years, 3 times, and every single game, you're in a position to win that game. You the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. You got the team. You got to pay Brock, and that team is getting no younger. So it's got to be the 49ers. But I'll say this. I don't think you can leave the Cowboys off that list.
Why not?
Because the Cowboys are supposedly built for a Super Bowl every single year. Every single year.
You said a key word there. You said a key word there. Did you pick up on what you said?
Catch me up.
Supposedly.
I mean,
that sounds like a preordained Cowboys fan.
You can't leave out the fact that this is supposedly America's team. It's America's team every year. Every year, I don't care what that team looks like. You're talking about them as contenders. You're talking about them as, when was the last time the 49ers were not the favorite to win a division? Aside from maybe a year or two ago. But, I mean, you can't leave them off the list. And I agree with you. It's the 49ers hands down by far. I think it's a one-team list. Mm-hmm. They gotta be under the most pressure because Kyle Shanahan should, in my opinion, he should be on the hot seat. I feel like he should be on the hot seat because of all of these games that you're in and your game plan, your strategy in these games, late in these games, right? It's questionable. And nobody really wants to come out and say it. But, I mean, listen, what has changed? The roster is the same. These players are more experienced and, in some cases, better players than they were when this team was first put together. So, it's the 49ers hand down, but don't leave the Cowboys off the list. They don't get off the hook that easy.
No. Here's why I left them off, and this is where we're gonna get into an argument. But it's all right. It's all right. Okay. Difference.
Change my mind, Jelani.
Yeah. That's what I like. That's what I like to hear. Because what pressure do they have other than their fan base? That's the only. Those are the only people talking about Super Bowl. When you hear other media outlets, other, reporters and everything. Yeah. Does the Cowboys have the talent to go to the Super Bowl? Absolutely. I like Dak Prescott. I like CeeDee Lamb. I like Michael Parsons. I like who they got, on their team. And I believe that I picked them to win the division this past year. So it's not me hating on them, but when it comes to the pressure of the Super Bowl, I need you to get past the second round. You can't have a game where you play Green Bay and Jordan Love and them come in and they carve y'all up, carving you up. You need to be able to get out and get to the NFC Championship game. Do that first before you do anything else. You need to, just like you talk about the 49ers running the division, you need to run the division. You haven't ran the division because the Eagles and the Giants have been winning that division. Washington won it, a few years back, but you haven't supplanted yourself as running the NFC East. You gotta get all of that stuff. And I know you're gonna say, well, Jelani, you put Detroit in there, and the only reason I put Detroit in there is because the way that game played out against San Francisco. So people are going to be expecting that. Dallas. Everybody is always waiting for them to fail. What are they going to do? How are they going to self-implode? What is going to happen with Dallas for this be the reason why they didn't win? I need them to get over that hump first. They get over that, then we can start talking about Super Bowl pressure. But the only Super Bowl pressure is coming from their fans. That's it.
No, that's not true. That's not true because you set a standard. You set the standard for yourself. And with that standard comes that pressure. You set your standard with the contract that you gave Dak Prescott. You set the standard for bringing in a Super Bowl champion head coach. You set the standard by what you didn't do in the offseason, right? You told the whole world, we're good enough. We don't need to make these changes, right? Uh-huh. We're good enough to go out and contend with the best of the best. Uh-huh. So, yeah, that's pressure. You got pressure on yourself now because now you got to show me, you got to prove it to me. You got to
So
prove it to the world. You got to prove it to the rest of the league that, you know what, we got what it takes. We should be here.
yeah, and you said something key that I picked up. Standard. They set the standard with everything that you just said, right? But they set the standard by you living off the standard of Troy Aikman, Michael Irving, and Emmett Smith. They are still using that standard from the 90s. That's what they're living off of. They're saying, "Oh, we can, we can get back to that. We can do that again." Okay, I need you to
Where
get to the NFC Championship game. Do that first. Do that first, and then we can talk. But I'm not putting them on there until you have something on your resume of the current players that doesn't show me an early exit out of the first round or me going into the second round of the playoff, and then I get mollywopped by a dude starting his first year full time.
Okay. I'm going to say this and I'll leave it alone. The NFL schedule. Have you seen the Cowboys schedule this year? Because I'm going to base that pressure on that schedule, right?
I skimmed over it. I saw they got obviously their division. They got us again. They may have the 49ers. They got the Browns, which is the Browns are going to be tough. Yeah, I mean, they don't have an easy schedule. Not to me, I don't think.
Looking at that schedule, it almost looked like 13 wins. But,
okay,
that's my opinion. That's based on the games that I feel like they should win. 13
and they could.
wins.
They could win 13 games. I don't doubt that.
Okay.
No.
I'm just saying their pressure is get to the NFC Championship game. That's where I would put their pressure. I'm not going to put Super Bowl.
That's what I love about the NFL. That's what I love about the NFL. You never know what's going to happen. But
Never know.
yeah, I like I said, I don't think you can leave them off the list. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Cowboy fans don't hate
you
me.
Change my mind. They're gonna
right.
do that anyway. You a Detroit Lions fan.
That's right.
It
right.
come with it.
Oh my gosh. Man. And what comes with it is another completed episode of the Wait a Minute Show. Again, ladies and gentlemen, turn on those notifications. Make sure you subscribe, like the show, share it on social media. Again, thank you for everybody that made the ultimate sacrifice for us this weekend. Enjoy the rest of the NBA. We're gonna be talking at this point when you see us again. We're probably gonna be talking about the finals because it probably should be over for both sides. But for me, your man Jelani JB Bodie, Big Mo running in the background. Appreciate y'all as always, man. We'll holler at you later. Peace.